But I wanted to talk about the state of HBO for a second, because that's really important in this article. Because like we'd always suspected that they were trying to start a cinematic universe with Game of Thrones.
But they're kind of saying it out loud here.
Yeah, they're saying it definitely out loud here, and
so is George. Actually, he mentions WandaVision.
Yeah, definitely. Now, keep in mind that like they went forward on this idea well before season 8. So like I do wonder how they've been they've been so gung ho if, you know, after season 8. But they had already kind of had all these pitches out and shit like that. But HBO is not in great shape. I checked out, I looked for a list of what their most popular rated shows are. Number 1 is Euphoria.
Okay.
Number 2 is Friends.
Wait, what? Friends?
Yeah. Reruns of Friends. Yeah.
Reruns of Friends,
yeah.
really?
Like
wow,
they bought the catalog for Friends. I think Netflix had it before, and now
they did.
Yeah. So like HBO doesn't really they don't have a flagship show. I'm not saying HBO shows aren't still like pretty high quality, because they are, but like high quality doesn't mean viewers, right? Like
right.
I think The Leftovers is one of the greatest fucking shows
How
ever.
did I fucking know you were gonna say that?
But it's not like it's not like anyone watched it, right? And you know, the later seasons of Game of Thrones were crap, and everyone was watching the hell out of them. You can pick Big Bang Theory or you know, 2.5 Men were huge shows. It's not like the later, you know, it's not like 2.5 Men was ever good, or like most of the episodes of Big Bang Theory are good. It's just people get on bandwagons and watch shit. So like it, you know, I think HBO like has really good quality stuff. It's just people aren't like they're in a dismal state right now, and they're betting the farm on this. Which, I mean,
now that you say that, now that you point this out, the fact that they passed on the $30 million Blood Moon pilot because it didn't feel like Game of Thrones. That's what they say in the article.
Yeah.
It didn't bring them to a place where Game of Thrones brought them, and that's why they supposedly passed on it. And I don't think I buy that. I think the end product was just not that good.
Yeah, it probably wasn't super horrible, but it probably just was like, I don't like it. Doesn't there's not enough intrigue to make me go, oh, I want to see the next episode, you know, that kind of thing. Like Game of Thrones pilot has like Bran falling from that window like at the end, and you're like, well, I've got to watch the next episode, right, to see what happens to Bran. You know,
every single episode in Game of Thrones season 1, with the exception of episode 3, which ends with Ned watching Arya spar, but every single episode of Game of Thrones in season 1, like the ending of it made you want to watch the next episode.
Yeah. I mean, he's got that foreboding frown. He's like, oh no, what have I done? And you're like, why would Ned be doing that? But nonetheless, he is there. But yeah, you know, James Hibbard's stuff. It's a puff piece, no doubt. Like it's a puff piece. It's part of the media blitz, but and as part of it, I was going through it and I was like, like there's so many weird things in here that I think they think makes the show look good, which I'm not sure if they're really in the right place. So the first thing is they spend a lot of time focusing on Ryan Condal being a super fan and his desire to stay true to the source material.
What do you mean?
They just talk about this, like, oh, I've been a fan of the books for like 20 years, and like they're like one of the people are like, oh, we've got 2 characters named Rhaenys and Rhaenyra. We need to change the names, or maybe make the dragon names easier. And he's like, no, we can't, you know. So there's this idea that he has to like stay true to the source material, which is very funny, because it's not to say that there aren't like crazy super fans that hate any changes to adaptations. I'm not one of those people, but there are people that are like, oh fuck, I cannot believe you know, changed Dorothy's slippers from silver to ruby, you know. But in The Wizard of Oz, her slippers are silver, but now we think of them so iconically as ruby slippers. I always say, like, who cares? Like, a good story is a good story. Like, The Boys' base material is crap. Like, no one thinks Fire and Blood is great. like, I mean, I admit that the Rogue Prince is the strongest part of Fire and Blood, but like, come on, like no one's like, oh man, Fire and Blood, my favorite book. Like, I'm so connected to these characters. This isn't like Harry Potter, where people have like real emotional investment to the source material and like really care. Like, it's just Fire and Blood. Like, no one gives a shit.
And not only that, though, but how can anybody say that like Fire and Blood is their favorite from like I understand like the historical beats are cool and all, but this is history as told from a guy who was kind of there, not really, and from another guy who may have been there, maybe, and even they're both disputed in multiple texts.
Right.
So you're really sure of what's happening. It's maybe there's some elements of truth in there, maybe it's not. Like, you don't really know.
I have met some people that are like, oh no, I love Fire and Blood, but I don't quite understand it because it's written so weirdly and dryly. The most interesting aspect of Fire and Blood is the fact that it's ambiguous and contradictory. Like, that's the most interesting part, and that part is impossible to adapt. Like, we're gonna see like something on screen, right, of something happening. You know, like you could take like a basic thing from Fire and Blood, like, was there a romance between Rhaenyra and Criston Cole? And was there a romance between Rhaenyra and Daemon Targaryen? In those early chapters, I mean, the early part of that time when you read it in Fire and Blood, you have no idea. Like, you know, there's a claim that Daemon Targaryen was fooling around with Rhaenyra, and there's a claim that Rhaenyra was fooling around with Criston Cole. But they're all just rumors. And then time goes on and, you know, you're not sure if anything happened or not.
And then there's also the claim for Mushroom, who, by the way, was absent in the trailer, and we don't know any. I think he's been cut.
I don't think there's going to be a Mushroom, right?
I doubt it. It would be too much like Tyrion. The people would compare it to Tyrion.
I mean, he is just Tyrion, right? He is. But he's a parallel character, but
the claim for Mushroom that Rhaenyra and Laenor had like threesomes with like another man, and oftentimes she would just watch them have sex,
right?
So,
oh yeah, like, all sorts of weird stuff like that. Like, you can't adapt it because he tells like many stories at once. And then also, like, are you going to adapt Fire and Blood, or are you going to adapt the Rogue Prince? Because there's actually little changes between the two texts. I just had this in my last video, but in the Rogue Prince, there's implication that Daemon and Alicent had a romance, and that is cut completely. Those rumors are cut completely for Fire and Blood. So, you know, what are you even adapting? Like, what's canon? I don't know, but it's impossible. But then I'd like to say that, like, even though there's this claim in this article that Ryan Condal is like trying to like focus on the source material, like anybody gives a shit about Fire and Blood, but he's clearly not doing that. Like, there's clearly, like, already in the trailers, like, we can see stuff that has been added that changes the dynamics of things. Like, we see Daemon fighting in the 5-year anniversary tourney, which he didn't do in Fire and Blood at all, and he's fighting against Criston Cole, which would create a rivalry with Criston Cole, and that's just something not in the source material. Like, Daemon and Criston were not rivals. Daemon and Otto were the rivals, and Criston and Harwin Strong were the rivals. You know, like,
Harwin Strong is in the show.
Yeah.
He's been cast.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it all goes, but it's creating different. Also, it shows Alicent and Rhaenyra as like good friends when they're young, which is also something not in Fire and Blood. It's adding all of these different layers that are not in the source material, which is fine. The source material is bare bones. Like, that tourney that we see in the trailer, there's one line. That's one line in Fire and Blood. Like, that's it. You know, like, can you imagine like being George R.R. Martin and have like you write one line and then like somebody does this huge production of having this huge tourney with sets and shit? Like, it's crazy.
Well, isn't that technically what they were going to do with Blood Moon? Like, there is maybe a few lines of like text about what happened during the Long Night with the Children of the Forest, and like maybe a page or two, and that was going to be its whole like several seasons long prequel series before they canceled it.
Yeah. It's funny to think about like those pitches that failed. I'd love to be a fly on the wall, but I guess we'll never really find out.
Well, they actually this is something I actually also wanted to bring up. They actually had an idea for one of the pitches, which did you ever see that one movie? I think it was like Egyptian gods movie where like the actual gods fight each other. The Jamie Lannister actors in it.
I watched it on a plane and I forgot about it immediately. But yes, I did. I have seen it.
They had a pitch like that where I don't know if you saw this in the article, but the original pitch was, let me see here. HBO apparently even considered a prequel featuring the 7 gods of Westeros likened to something like a superhero team-up. So basically, like, they were actual people.
Yeah, like it's Eternals.
Right, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, it really annoyed me in the article when he like called it the so-called War of the Five Pitches as it was referred to online. I was like, no one called it that. No one fucking called it that, okay? I lived through that period of time. No one called it the War of Five Pitches, okay? The first thing is that the number of pitches was ambiguous for so long. It was like, is it 4? Is it 6? Like, no one knew. George had an entire blog post about the number changing. So, like, calling it the War of Five Pitches is stupid. And even in the article, they mentioned that it was 15 pitches. So
there's so many at this point. There's like, does that include Snow or Robert's Rebellion? They're also actively talking about, or E.T.
No one fucking called it the War of the Five Pitches. That wasn't a fucking thing. Like I get it, you know. I also think it's really funny that they're trying to call it dragon in the article, as like that's gonna catch on like Thrones. You know, like no one's. It's Hot D, okay? No one's gonna call it fucking dragon.
Hot D.
It's Hot D.
Okay, I'll take it.
No one's gonna call it dragon. It's just it's Hot D, okay? It's Hot D. That's gonna be the thing. Do not call it dragon ever. You can call it House of the Dragon or you can call it Hot D, but I'm telling you, people out there, never call it dragon.
The other concepts here, like some of these concepts, I don't understand, because keep in mind that I would argue that more than 3/4 of the entire like fan base are casuals who never read the books.
Oh yeah.
And why would casuals care about the destruction of Valyria? Who cares about that? A story featuring Dornish warrior queen Nymeria. The casuals didn't like Dorne. Right. Not even book fans liked it, because they butchered that plot.
Yeah.
The conquest of Westeros by Aegon Targaryen, which I think should have been a nice first 6-episode season. But here's the thing that was weird, with the famed warrior being depicted as a drunken lout.
Yeah.
Why did that need to be a thing? And a series based on the lighthearted Dunk and Egg novellas, which I'm all for. That should be a limited.
It's funny that George R.R. Martin comes in with 2 pitches and they're Dunk and Egg and the Dance of the Dragons, and it's like, oh really? Those are your fucking 2 that you're gonna like? That's his only other written material. Oh, well, I guess he has Sons of the Dragon, so he had like something on Maegor the Cruel, but like those are his only things. Like the only other things he's written are Dunk and Egg and fucking the Dance of the Dragons, like at that time.
And why would HBO be dumb enough to go with Dunk and Egg? As much as I would want them to, Dunk and Egg's not even finished.
Yeah. I mean, Dunk and Egg. It's hard to go into a pitch meeting and be like, look, these are really well written stories with really rich characters, that are just beautiful little stories. And they're like, really, tell me what they're about. And you're like, well, one of them is about this knight who goes to this land where there's this widow and people want her to remarry, and there's another old guy who's poor and he used to be on the losing side of an old war, and then the climax is there's a fight in a river, and you're like, what no one would ever go for it. That's the sworn sword, if you but
actually, here's the problem with any Game of Thrones prequel, and I feel bad for anyone who has to pitch these ideas, because if you think about it, once again, HBO has to, cater to the casual fans. For the people who are watching this who are hardcore fans, sorry, but, it is what it is. I feel bad because Dunk and Egg without dragons, White Walkers, and all that stuff, it's really hard to get any of the audience on board, because the audience wants more Game of Thrones. What's Game of Thrones associated with? Well, dragons, snow zombies, wildlings, all that stuff. Dunk and Egg doesn't really have all that. We have Targaryens, sure, but other than that, it just becomes another medieval fantasy. So why would the audience care?
You're right. Dunk and Egg are just good stories, and they don't have a gimmick, which is weird. Like, I can see Blood Moon pulling people in because you have the mystery of the White Walkers and all of that on the wall and all of this mystery. It's weird hearing George R.R. Martin in these pitch meetings in the article, because they're like, oh, he was really confused about Blood Moon because it didn't have any dragons. And then he comes in with his Dance with the Dragons pitch and he's like, it's got 20 dragons. And you're like, okay, like, I get it, but like, it's kind of not really understanding what people really liked about Game of Thrones. I don't know many fans of Game of Thrones that are honestly like, I really just love the dragons. Like, I was excited to see the dragons. Mm-hmm. The characters in story are more excited about seeing dragons than the viewers. I think the viewers are like, we're really intrigued about the White Walkers, and they like the political intrigue. And they like some really like the crazy violence. But I don't know too many that are just like, oh, CGI dragons, cool. Like,
But is any Game of Thrones prequel or sequel property Game of Thrones without the dragons? That's what I'm worried about.
I don't know. I mean, I know you'd watch the shit out of a young Littlefinger show.
Young Littlefinger is just him getting raped by Lysa and then getting fucked up by Ned Stark's brother. That's basically all it is. Like, and then him, like, doing really good accounting in Goldtown.
Yeah,
that's all that is.